Hi there. Welcome to Draw With Me. I am Danny Gregory, and it is time to do some drawing together as we do every Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific. And today's no exception. Chihuahua madness. How many amazing chihuahuas, variations on chihuahuas, variations on all the variations that there are of chihuahuas. And I don't know, I just feel like the beginning of this show gets better and better every week. Maybe I'm just an incredible example to you and your drawing skills are improving each week, but I don't know, I'm really excited to see it, to see what you've made, and it's really fun. What did I want to share of this? Let's see if this works. That's gigantic. Never mind. Here we are yesterday. This is me and JJ and Twiggy meeting with Holly Rose. Holly is an instructor at Sketchbook School, and she was visiting here in the Phoenix area, so we all got together. First time we've met in person ever, but it was really nice. It was nice to see. It's so nice when you get to see actual flesh and blood instead of pixels. Somebody who you've known for a while, but you get to actually see them as what they really look like. How tall are they? That kind of stuff. So yes, it was that was really nice, and I'm looking forward to well. The thing about Holly is she's very inspiring because she is a very avid sketchbook keeper, and she's constantly drawing everything. Actually, come to think of it, we never looked at her sketchbook yesterday, but she is she's an inspiration, and I feel that Holly energy still in me. So thank you, Holly, for that. All right, so today we have a bunch of things to talk about. What do we have to talk about? Well, first of all, I want to talk about, well, subscribe to this channel, sure, of course, that would be great. But I also wanted to talk about this, a new thing. This is like the first really major new product from Hahnemühle that we've gotten to talk about. And this is something I am particularly excited about because I'm always looking for new watercolor sketchbooks. And this brand new watercolor sketchbook is debuting here on Draw With Me. So, and I'll tell you a bit about it. And also, we're going to be giving several of them away. We are going to be giving away, I'm not sure how many it is, 2 or 3, maybe more, to anybody who would like to get one, like to try one, like to see what all the fuss is about. And you can get one too by writing to info@sketchbookschool.com if you're in the United States. And do not forget to include your mailing address so we know where to send this beautiful sketchbook. But I want to tell you a bit about it because it's interesting. So here it is. Here's one of them. This one is the portrait version. I think the ones we're giving away are landscape. I didn't get a landscape one. I got that one, and I also got a square one, which I'm going to be drawing in. Square. Which is nice. Square watercolor sketchbook. I don't know. A lot of those around. So this is really nice. But I wanted to explain to you what it means that it's cotton. This is cotton. This is an actual cotton. Is it called a cotton boll? B-O-double-L, not cotton ball. I think it is. I don't really know. But this is an actual piece of cotton from a farm, from a farmer. And the thing about cotton in sketchbook paper that you should know about is cotton is really amazing for watercoloring because it keeps the tones bright. It keeps your colors bright and authentic, whether it's wet on wet or whether the well, the colors look bright and amazing when they're wet, but also when they dry, they retain that vibrancy, which is really something great that we want, of course, to have. It also is really nice to paint on. Your brush just flows across it. You know, I've talked before about nostalgia as my favorite kind of drawing paper just because the ink and the pen just glides across it. Well, that's the way this feels as well. Like it has texture to it, has tooth, but your brush is still really controlled and flowing. So that's really nice. Not a lot of drag on it. So this, what they do is most of this cotton, when they pick cotton, most of it goes to, to making clothes and stuff like that. But if you pull it apart, inside there are seeds, cotton seeds deep inside here. And the cotton seeds have a slightly different kind of fiber that sits here that surrounds them. And this particular fiber is what they use to make paper out of. So it's most of it goes to the fabric, and then here I actually have a whole bunch of these little seeds. They're kind of cute. So the seed itself is inside, but then this sort of like hamster fur is what they strip off. So obviously it takes a lot of seeds to do that, and that's how they make this paper. So what else? Oh yes, there's another really great thing that I'm particularly appreciative of this. First of all, Hahnemühle's made watercolor sketchbooks before, but this one is heavier. Let me open up this one. This is my when I started. Hey, I painted a frog here. But here's what's cool about this paper is, first of all, it is nice and thick. And I encountered this and been irritated by it with other sketchbook watercolor paper, is the sizing on this particular book is the same on both sides of the paper. So it isn't, you don't have to just focus on the right-hand side. The left side feels just the same, and takes the watercolor in exactly the same way. So the paper is sized on both sides of the page. I don't know. It's pretty good. I'm pretty excited by that. It's nice to know about. Andrea's complaining about the environmental effect of cotton. Then go ahead and get an agave sketchbook or a bamboo sketchbook. Hahnemühle makes those too. But if you want cotton, yes, it's going to take some paper. If you want to wear a cotton shirt, it's going to take some water. So yeah, these are the compromises that we make. So yes, yes, this is good. Let me just look at what you all are saying. Somebody out there doing some Jesus stuff. That's unfortunate to be turning this into that. But yes, we're giving away 3 of these Hahnemühle A6 landscape books. So all good. And that's the sketchbook I'm going to be working in today. I'm excited to say. Now, what are we going to do in this sketchbook? What am I going to do? Frogs. We got frogs here. Frogs are our subject for today. And today, in case you didn't know, is National Frog Jumping Day. Taking some notes on National Frog Jumping Day. Apparently it's an annual event. Every May 13th is National Frog Jumping Day. And apparently this began in California, in Calaveras County in 1849. So there have been people jumping frogs and also doing leapfrog events. They have this annual thing. And apparently it's spread. It's not just in Calaveras County. Now, you may remember a story, maybe you read it in high school. I think it's the first story that Mark Twain ever published, called the Jumping, is it called the Jumping? Yeah, the Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County, which is about some guy betting on a frog. I can't remember the details of it, but yes, frog jumping. For some reason, it says here the international counterpart of this celebration is February 19th. So for some reason, people outside the United States are expected to jump frogs in February. Not quite sure why that would be. Are there frogs in February? Aren't they all hibernating? Maybe it's in the southern hemisphere. I don't know. The reason that this is sort of an important holiday, or reason, I guess, is it a holiday? I'm not sure. If you're a frog, maybe it's a holiday. Maybe not. Maybe it's irritating to frogs to be forced to jump. I would find it rather irritating. But it is about drawing attention to frogs and the role that they play in our environment, and how they're also endangered by environmental changes. So it's a way of sort of raising consciousness about frogs. Now, Helen, you can draw frogs. You can draw frogs. You can be an honorary American today. I think you can draw frogs any day you want to. Yeah. Joey's reminding us about frogs' legs when they were on the menu. So speaking of Europeans, there we go, frogs' legs. So here it says that the current frog jumping record was set in 1986 by Rosie the Ribbiter. Ribbit, that's supposedly what frogs say. Remember they used to croak, but now they ribbit. Rosie the Ribbiter jumped 21 feet, 5 3/4 inches. 21 feet, which is what? 7 meters? Meters, for those of you who are not foot oriented. It's a long direct. I bet you that's further than the human long jumping record, isn't it? So yes. All right, well, I'm seeing some interesting frog, croak. Try and merge those words, frog or crog information in the chat. A lot of frog enthusiasts. I have to say I haven't drawn many frogs. I painted one frog just to kind of break in my sketchbook, but I think it will be an interesting experience today to draw some frogs. So let's get into it. Let's do some frogging. All right, so I have 3 different frogs. Let me just show you our 3 frogs, and we can decide which frog we want to do. So this is sort of brownish, we'll call him the brownish speckled frog in profile, brownish one. And then we have this guy who almost doesn't look like a real animal, does it? Crazy. It's probably like some kind of rainforest frog, but beautiful colors. And seeing as I'm going to be watercoloring, he is very enticing. And then here's the guy who I already drew. I have to say, I was a little freaked out in painting this guy. There's something about him. He's too meaty, if you will. He's meaty. Like he looks like a fistful. He looks like he's probably like the size of, I don't know, I don't know. It feels like an organ or something. I'm mildly troubled by him. And then when I was painting him, I thought this was, but I did paint him and I did kind of enjoy it. He has beautiful eyes. And I think that that's an interesting thing. So, all right. So we have this meaty, we have this rainforest guy, and we have the brown guy. This is more sort of a typical garden frog. Should we start with him? Okay, so I see that. Let's. I'm trying to think. Where should we go? Let's start with him. He's here. He's here, and if we have time, we will move on and we will try and do another one. Maybe I should do it on this side, just because I can paint on both sides of this page. I'm going to. So, yeah. There's the toad. There's the toad. Is it a toad? I don't even know. I'm not even sure. I'm going to move him down here. And maybe in the interests of composition, I'll move myself over here. All right, here we go. I'm going to start with a pencil. It's my new thing, drawing with a pencil, particularly with watercolor. And I was thinking, so when I did this guy, this is Meaty. When I did Meaty, he was, I felt like he was a little serious. Betsy, if you are unhappy with my presentation of this reference, all the references available on the post, in the YouTube post, so you can do it there. You can go and look there. But if you want me to, I guess I can put something dark underneath it. All right, there it is. No, you know what? I don't really like that. It's annoying to me. I'm afraid I'm just going to leave it like that. Now I've made this line on my page. All right, Betsy, I'm afraid I've been trying to accommodate you, but I have failed. All right, so my first tendency again is to start drawing him from the butt end, but I kind of want to be looser. I want to be loose. I want to be loose. So I don't really care this much about making him really accurate. I just don't care because I made meaty kind of accurately, and I kept thinking, yeah, I wish I'd loosened up a bit. I wish I'd been a bit looser. Is anybody thinking Kermit? This is not a Kermit-like frog, though, right? Because the song isn't "It's Not Easy Being Brown," which would be a very different kind of a song, I think. It's not easy being green. But this is not a green frog. Presumably, he lives. Maybe this is a desert frog. They're desert toads, I think, right? Again, don't know much about them, but that's the point. We're trying to learn about this critter, and hence the point of National Frog Jumping Day. Jump into some knowledge about this frog. Back foot is kind of long and thin. Did you ever have to dissect frogs? Biology class? Do you remember that? God. I remember there was a thing called double pithing, where you take a frog, they would have live frogs. I don't know if they still do this in high school. It just seemed a hell of a thing to do just to get a biology credit. And then you would take this living frog and you would take like a big pin on a stick and you would jam it into like its neck or something like that. And you basically immobilize it and then you would dissect it while it was still alive. Something like that. Oh God! As I'm describing, I haven't really thought about that for many years. As I'm describing, it seems absolutely unreal that that's what we would do. I mean, I do remember in high school being like really outraged by that kind of thing. Cruelty. Adults being unethical. All right, so do I want to really get into drawing all these things? Or do I want to wait and just let the watercolor do it? Probably better to do it that way. Yeah, so Melissa freaked her out to the point that she stopped being pre-med. Yeah, there's probably a lot of people who might have become doctors, but for the double pith. Yeah, Samantha stuck with chemistry, so she didn't have to dissect animals. Yeah, I remember. I remember being trolled by that in psychology class in college too. Not pigeons, not frogs, because after we did experiments on them, teaching them to like, I don't know what it was we taught them to do, like to click a button and get some food, that kind of thing. We learned that they killed them afterwards because they were no longer naive. Nor were we. Sorry. We just wanted to draw nice frogs, and here it is, bringing up all this grim stuff. All right, hey, look what I can do. What do you think? That's not bad. It's kind of interesting. And he jumped. Okay, now let's try some watercoloring. So I think I should probably begin by putting down kind of a lighter background color. I'm probably going to exaggerate it a bit. I don't think I'm going to go, I think I'm going to make him look a bit more interesting than he does. A bit more colorful, or at least more varied in tone. So, but first it'll be easier, I think, to just sort of put down a kind of a general base coat, as it were. I do like the sound of frogs, though. There's nothing like that when you go out in the evening and you hear frogs. We have had some in our backyard now that I think about it, haven't we? JJ, do you remember that? Didn't we have some tiny frogs leaping around? We certainly hear things that sound like frogs, but they might just be crickets. Is it easy to tell the difference? Yeah, this does feel nice. So you can see this paper is like, it certainly has tooth to it, but it is flowing very smoothly and nicely. And the color is nice and bright. So now I have to figure out how to mix this sort of darker color. How do you make a darker brown? There you go. I was just thinking to myself how nice it is. I hear a dove outside. A lot of doves going on around at this time of year. I was thinking, I wonder where those leaf blowers are. They don't seem to have shown up yet. Of course, because I said that, they're probably like, wait a minute, all right, he talked about us. Let's fire up the leaf blowers. They're out there. They're lurking like toads in the bushes, waiting to spring out and start firing up their horrible, infernal devices, those leaf blowers. For those of you who are new to draw with me, it is a tradition that we have leaf blowers in the background through most of the broadcast. Interesting, very specific lines that they have. I wonder if these are. It's almost like a leopard or something, like leopard spots, or are they like freckles? No, I'm sure they're very carefully designed for camouflage. People talking about biblical plagues. Yeah, the biblical plague of frogs. I forgot that that was one of them. And that was a particularly grotesque plague, as I remember, because not only were there lots of frogs, but they rained down. Like in one of my favorite movies, Magnolia. If you haven't ever seen that movie, there's a scene where, for some reason, frogs fall from the sky. It's never explained, but it's quite compelling. All right, so my frog is a little different from the picture. The lines are a bit different, but I think I want to make that eye a bit different. I want to have different values than I have in the stripes. Putting a bit of Payne's gray in there to make it a bit darker. And yeah, that didn't really help terribly much. A little bit. Unfortunately, I was a bit energetic in how I drew that eye. There are too many lines. So I'm going to have to live with that. I guess I could go in and paint it out in gouache or erase it or something like that, but no, that would. How about that? A little bit of yellow. I kind of like this yellow. I might add a bit more of yellow spots just for some texture. Make him. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I like that. Frog 1. So, what about this? So, I want to move on to that really colorful frog. Let's check him out. Goodbye, brown frog. How now, brown frog? Here's this guy. Wow, that is a cool looking animal. So, where should we put him? Unfortunately, don't really have a lot of space for him. I may have to change pages, turn pages. Should I do it? Should I do it? I'm doing it. All right. So here he is. I'm going to try and keep him looking sort of otherworldly, I think. I'm going to be more careful with how I draw that eye. I mean, this guy is really like a cartoon. His eye's almost really bulging more. Ah, there's the leaf blower. Excellent. Kind of nice, very strong looking arms. I mean, you expect the back legs to be strong, but this is definitely a very strong looking arm. And then these little amazing sucker things. They look kind of almost like the bottom of my desk chair. Really good though. Nicely architected critter. And then this arm. Hey, you think about what was the natural selection process that brought out this model? But it probably is one of those poisonous looking creatures that, you know, is basically colored like this to say to would-be predators, don't mess with me. I am not good to eat. But he looks kind of like a flower, so I wonder, I guess that adaptation worked, but it looks like it could have failed too. Nice muscular back thigh. Well, back thigh is redundant, but kind of misplaced this foot a bit, so kind of make it up. Pretend that I can see those bits of his toes. And then he has this kind of like lower lip thing. And he has a little tiny nostril, but I kind of don't want to draw the nostril because I'm afraid that will make him look really like an unpleasant cartoon character if I'm not really careful with that nostril. So the nostril's so slight that I'm just going to leave it out. All right, so there he is. He's reasonable. His head is a bit small. Head is a bit small because his eyes should really be over here above the arm. So, all right, next time I'll be more careful. Next time I draw a poisonous rainforest frog, all right, now we've got to the good part. See, the thing I'm not used to, because I don't work with pencil that much, is just the graphite on your hands. It's a potential problem. It really is. Having that as a messy element that, of course, will mess up your page. I guess that's why there are erasers, so you can go in afterwards and clean it up. Who was I talking to yesterday about pencil and watercolor? They were saying how it used to be that you would do a watercolor, you do an under sketch like this, and then you would go to great pains to erase all of it so that you would just have pure watercolor. That it used to be that with watercolor, having line was really a no-no. I'm not sure where. I don't know if there's like the Watercolor Council or the watercolor societies. I'm sure there's things like that. They were just like, what? I can see your lines. What are you doing? Completely unacceptable. But you know what? I'm a line man. I draw the line at eliminating my lines. I'm not ashamed. That was my process. I drew the lines. Drew them. Don't care. Don't care if you know it. Not ashamed. So now people can feel comfortable being themselves, being people who draw lines. We don't have to hide that anymore. We can be proud of our lines. That's as it should be. Seems to have sort of interesting rib action there. It's a good-looking fella. Is that an IKEA plate? No, this is an heirloom Wedgwood. No, of course. I think it's actually from Crate and Barrel. I like using a plate as a palette. Not everybody in my house likes that, because what I do is periodically, don't tell my wife this, but what I'll do periodically is I will take that plate, sneak it into the dishwasher, and it will resume its original function as being a dinner plate or a salad plate. No one will be the wiser. You'll never know that you're eating off a palette. Dishwasher gets rid of all traces, and hopefully all toxins, but we won't know that until it's too late. I'm suddenly feeling self-conscious about how flat these colors are. I'm feeling like I need to do more to make it more interesting looking. So I may have to figure out how to do that. Because right now these colors are just really flat, as you can tell. Whereas the frog itself is not really flat. The frog is textured, and it's not just two-dimensional colors. It's got lots of range and variation and reflection in the frog. So how far do you want to get into that? Or do you want to just leave him as a little character? Your call, your frog. Do what you want. Getting a bit of bleeding in here. Nice red eyes. Be careful here, because as you can see, this is a nightmare. Because I'm doing wet on wet. Right. And the super wet paint is just oozing beyond its parameters. Okay, let's solve it, I think. Yeah, not entirely. It's starting to ooze again. I think I'm going to try a little bit of Payne's Gray down here. And then I have to give him that orange lip, which I'm really concerned about. It's a very weird thing, this orange lip. It's not bad, actually. And then, so look at his eye. Yeah, I'm really worried about this eye. think I have to be patient and let things not do what's going on down here. But again, this is what happens when you are too eager with your watercolors, and you don't give them just give them a little time to dry. Come on. I didn't bring a hairdryer with me today, but that would have helped. Definitely would have helped. So we can just sit and wait for it to dry. I'm reasonably pleased with this. It really does look like a toy, like a transformer or something. So does the original frog. So does my subject. It still looks like a frog though, which is really what I wanted. I have to figure out what I'm going to do with having these drawings of frogs in my sketchbook. I mean, I have to come up with some logic to explain why they're in my sketchbook. And I could write about National Frog Appreciation Day or National Frog Jumping Day. That's actually what it is, which isn't actually today, by the way. It's tomorrow. So you have another full day to celebrate it if you'd like. Or if you're watching this as a recording, you might say, oh, dang it, I missed it. Well, you didn't. But Jen forgot one of the arms. Yeah. Which arm? This arm blending into the back leg. Gotta keep your eye open. Speaking of which, I'm now ready to go in and do the eye. Whew, that was tough. You know, the eyes always help. It always helps to have a nice bit of eye in there. If only I had a better. Let me just grab something. All right, I have a little teeny tiny watercolor brush. Normally I just use one watercolor brush. You know, if you have a nice watercolor brush, and mine is a nice one, you can do anything. You can get a nice sharp point, and you can do fat and thin. You can do anything with it. Some people have hundreds of watercolor brushes, and I actually do own quite a lot. I end up just using the same one all the time. This Winsor Newton number 7 series. It's actually a number. Is it number 7? It is a 7. It is a 7. It's really beaten up, and all the paint has worn off it because I left it sitting in water for too long, which is terrible. I've not treated this brush with the respect that it deserves, not at all. But it's the sign of a real, classy brush that it hasn't held it against me. It has said, you know what, you're kind of a jerk, but I'm here to do my job, and I can live with the fact that you have abused me over the years. I'm a professional. I'm here to do what I was made to do. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for being better at what you do than I am at what I do. But I own you now, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. You're going to have to live with my abuse. When you were back in the store, you didn't see it coming. You were like, yeah, here's just another guy. Oh, he's going to buy me. That's nice. I'm adopted. I have a place to go now. And then suddenly you came home with me and you were subjected to all kinds of indignities they never told you about back in England in the factory when they were making you. They never said, watch out for, you're going to find these Americans who just leave you sitting in a jar of water overnight. Your paint will crack off and they won't even care. They'll drag you out in public and make you do your job despite everything that's happened to you. Yes, Shelley, it's often dark around here on Draw With Me. Why not? Why not? Into every life, a little rain must fall, including my Series 7 brush. Okay, I'm reasonably pleased with this frog. I think I've I think when it dries, I'll go back in and do some more stuff. I could even go in with some gouache. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I feel like there's too much dark areas. I might want to go back in and add some texture, particularly to this arm and to this back. I think it would be nice to have a bit of texture. And then maybe I can also clean up this mess down here that I created with my impatience. And back there, look at that. There's nothing much I can do with it. I mean, I could go in and I could get some gouache. But to hell with it. It's he's a bleeding frog. What kind of bleeding frog? Just there you go. The famous Patagonian hemorrhaging frog. Yeah, so I'll keep working on him. I'll make him better. I'll salvage him. But he's not bad. His head is too small. His tummy is too large. But people say the same of me. Sorry about that. People say that of me, so maybe this is a self-portrait. Myself as a poisonous frog. So there we have it. I now have drawn or painted 3 frogs. I think this one might be the most successful so far. But yeah, we'll get back to it. All right, that was fun. I wish every day was National Frog Jumping Day. Next week, we'll be celebrating National Car Jumping Day. We'll be drawing cables, batteries, AAA trucks, what else could we do? National Turnstile Jumping Day. That's often celebrated in New York, at least back in my day it was. If you didn't have a token or a Metro card, now you don't even need a token. You certainly don't need a token. You don't need a Metro card. You can just I used my watch when I was in New York last time. Yeah. All right, guys. What else do I have to tell you? Whoops. Why? Let's wrap it up. I want to see your frogs. And I want you to have one of these amazing cotton, 100% cotton Hahnemühle sketchbooks. So if you want one, write to info@sketchbookschool.com. It only works right now in the United States. Over time, we may expand our sphere of influence, but write to us. Tell us why. Why should you get this sketchbook? This is a really amazing sketchbook. What's amazing about you and your desire? You don't have to be an amazing artist, as I've already proven. you can be, an abject mediocrity and still, benefit from this incredible sketchbook. So that's not the issue. The issue is, make us laugh, make us cry, make us weep bitterly. Up to you what you do, but let us know why you would like one of these. We have a couple of them, and 3 of them, and I think you're going to enjoy having one. All right, Danny'sEssays.com, my weekly essay. I've now introduced a new version of my secondary essay, which I will tell you about if you sign up for the first one. It's free. Sign up for it, Danny'sEssays.com. And I'll also send you a book. I wrote a little book for you. Art for All podcast, every Monday, me and Jack Laws talking about art stuff, life stuff, science stuff. I think you'll enjoy it. Many millions of people do. And you can listen to it on your podcast instrument or here on the YouTube channel, because we recorded the video version of it and we play it here, here on YouTube every Monday. So you can see that. Meanwhile, your frogs, post them on social media, and so on Facebook, on Instagram, hashtag SBS Draw With Me, so we can track down your frog, grab it, lasso it, put it into a restraining harness, slap it into a cage, drag it back to SBS headquarters, and introduce it into next week's show. So we'll see your frog leaping to the screen next week if you send it to us. Not send it to us, but post it. Or in the schoolyard. If you're a member of the schoolyard, if you're a fortunate member of the schoolyard because you are a sketchbook school student, past or present, we can see it there too. And finally, subscribe to this channel. Come on, you're still here. You know you like it. Subscribe to it. No salesman will call. But next week, you'll be reminded that it's time to come back and draw with me again. And you know you want to. You know you do. So please do. And please keep making art. Please keep saving frogs. And get your cotton picking hands on the sketchbook by writing to us and asking for it. That's all. We just keep giving. Give and give and give. And we will send you love, sketchbooks, frogs, you name it. Arrivederci. Until next week, keep on keeping on.